The problem with this car is that when the gear shift is put in parking position, the dashboard meter gives two gear signals, P and N. See if the R and N here give signal even when the gear is in reverse position. Keep the gear in N position and see that only N gear signal is given. When the gear is put in the drive position to drive the car, see if it signals D and N gear. If any gear is shifted other than the gear shift natural position, C.N. It also gives the signal of other gear. It means that if you shift any gear, the meter gives two gear signals. How to solve this problem? So watch the full video, inshallah you will be able to repair it. What are the common causes of this problem? What to check to solve the problem? 1. Check the dashboard meter. 2. Check the connection socket of the wiring. 3. Transmission position gear selector switch. Number 1, so to check first dashboard meter, stop the car engine. First I took off the dashboard meter and checked if there is any problem with this car meter, but this meter has no problem. Check your car meter for any problem, repair or replace the meter if there is any problem. Number 2, check wire and socket connector, open the front bonnet hood. Check the connection wire and socket connector of the gear position selector switch for any problem. I opened the socket of the connection of the gear position selector switch. Check that there is no problem with the socket of the cable. Check the wires well if there is any problem with the cable line. This socket is connected with the socket of the gear selector switch. The gear selector switch of this car is located at the bottom of the gearbox. I have checked that there is no problem with the wire and socket connection of this car. The wire connection of this car is fine. If there is any problem with the wire and socket of your car, replace or repair it. Note that if there is no problem with the dashboard meter or wire and socket connections, number 3, remove the gear selector switch and repair or replace it. Removed the gear selector switch by removing the gear selector cable and bracket. Repairing the gear selector switch on this car is difficult because the gear selector switch is held in place with custom rivets and is therefore very difficult to open. So I will change the transmission gear selector position switch. Here are two transmission gear selector position switches. A second-hand gear selector switch will be installed. The other is opened from this vehicle. I will install this second-hand transmission gear selector position switch now. I attached the gear selector switch with a 12 mm size screw. Tighten the screw as much as possible so that the gear selector switch cannot move. Transmission gear selector position switch installed. Now attach gear selector cable and bracket. Now I have completed installing the car's transmission gear selector position switch and gear cable. Now I will connect the gear selector position switch wire socket. I have plugged the gear selector switch wire socket. Now I will go inside the car and start the car engine and check the gear selector signal.L. I entered the car. Now I started the car engine and saw the gear selector signal. Now there is no problem. I will check if there is any problem by changing the gear shift. The problem with this car was the dashboard. When the gear shift was changed, the meter was giving two gear signals. I changed the gear selector switch, so now there is no problem. Inshallah the problem is solved. Auto transmission gear selector position switch of this car is broken, but no problem after replacement. Watch full video, comment if you have trouble understanding the video. Thanks for watching the video.